The numbers are right. Everything reconciled. Nothing is missing. There's more data than ever, and less room to think. So what do we actually do next? That's the moment you realize the math was almost helpful.
All right, Debbie, share your experience with what's going on. I mean, you have got like what, 10 clients in the app
Yes.
now? Yeah, tell us about it. How's it going?
It's exciting. It's frustrating. it's fun. It's it makes my life as an advisor super easy. And I can't wait till it's all functioning like I want it to and like Mike wants it to. But it's really been an incredible week with clients because I could pull up information and show them, and I didn't even have to say anything. They kind of realized what their issues were. and it made them dig deep and make some changes without me having to even say anything.
Yeah, that one client of yours, I mean, came with a plan on how to reduce cost. It was really, really cool.
Yes.
All right. Anybody else got something to share? Brian Ludwig's here, all the way from Canada. He came in. There's Gene. All right, cool. All right, so I've been working on a new version of the Pathfinder course. So I've been working on a new version of that. Who remembers what the Pathfinder course is? Oh, and by the way, I know there's note takers here, but did you guys see that Eric Levenhagen is our new Clear Path to Cash professional? He passed the test and got his certificate and all that. So yeah, if you see or hear him, tell Eric hi.
Way to go, Eric.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Eric.
All right. So I've been working on it. Who remembers the 4 phases of the Pathfinder course?
Oh, now you're getting specific.
Yeah, there were just 4 modules, right? Build was the first one. Build your advisory offer, sell, execute, and grow. Remember that? For those of you guys who've been through the Pathfinder course in the past. So it was about building the offer, right? So I wanted to take at the point in time, this is when Larry came on, right? I was building the Pathfinder course when Larry came on, like 75 years ago or something like that.
Shit. You were, but we were never waiting for you. You were always ahead of us.
But I look back now and I'm thinking, okay, well, I had kind of a structure. It wasn't clear, it wasn't clear enough. And now that I've written the book and built this app, it's become a lot more clear on how to execute an advisory offer. And now that I'm doing it almost every day myself, it really works. It just works. So originally, I had how to build it, and I had some spreadsheets on putting together your packages and those type of things. And then it was how to sell it. And I still agree with a lot of things I did in the sell. I've just kind of shifted a little bit, and the execution really firmed up. And that was thanks to Jean. Jean, do you remember what you did to push me into a execution model? She said, I need you to create an acronym.
Yeah.
You remember this, right? Who knows the acronym for the new execution model for
Fix.
It's FIX, right? What's FIX mean?
Find the problem.
Yep, find the burning issue. Good.
Find it. I forget the I.
Identify the fuel source, right? What's causing it to burn? Identify the fuel source.
Issue.
And then execute at the flash point, at the thing that caused it to catch fire. So find the burning issue, identify the fuel source, execute at the flash point. That's kind of what you do over and over and over and over again. All right. So if you look into the app, that's how it's built. All the steps are finding the burning issue, identifying what's causing it to burn, then creating an action plan to fix it, right? And that was all Gene Reiser's idea. What's up, Karen? Hey, by the way, did you guys know Karen is an Amazon bestseller? Yeah,
Way to
Karen.
go, Karen.
Yeah, Karen's book on Amazon is a bestseller. It's called Stop Growing Broke, Start Growing Profits. Is that right?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still selling, still
Anyone
going,
wants one,
still
just message
going well.
me.
What's that?
If anyone wants one, just message me. I'll send you one.
Right on. There you go. It's a good book. I got one, I think up there, right up there. Matter of fact.
Yeah.
What's up, Stash? Stash stuck in. Okay, so what the third book allowed me to do was really understand the way I thought and executed. Because before that, it was Don Odell that was saying, how do you do that? And I hadn't really given thought to the way that I held the conversation. But now, over the past year, I'm like going, oh my God, that was the missing piece that I didn't have, right? Which was, is it about content? Is it about presentation? Is it about spreadsheets and charts and reports? Or is it about really talking to that person and understanding where they're at in the moment, right? So if you look now, the whole thing I'm doing this year is talking about that moment. And what's the moment? What am I describing specifically? Anybody caught on to that yet?
Their burning issue.
There's a moment. My tagline now that I'm trying to push into the clear path to cash is it's built for that moment. Not built for this moment, not built for a moment. It's built for that specific moment. And the moment I'm talking about is, have you ever been in a meeting when you were prepared, you had everything lined out, it was just all lined up, maybe you had the perfect piece of software, the perfect report, and as soon as you went to present it, there was just a random innocent question that came up and you were stuck because the answer wasn't there. They say, okay, great, what do we do next? Or how do we pay off that debt? Or there's a question that your client has that you hadn't thought about because it's not on your piece of paper. Have you ever been there? What does that feel like? If you're shaking your head like this, what does that feel like?
Really uncomfortable.
Really uncomfortable. There's usually a pause. There's usually like an awkward silence that happens. Maybe it's a second, maybe it's 5 seconds, but you feel it. And I don't know if it's me or all of us. Sometimes I can feel the heat like come up from my neck through my face. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's built for that moment because usually what people do in that moment is they say, that's a good question. Let me get back to you. You guys remember that? Who's used that line? All of us, right? Let me get back to you. What does that do when you say, let me get back to you? Not only did you both have an uncomfortable silence, but what really happens in the mind of the client?
Don't know what we're talking about. We don't know their books. We were unprepared. All the above, probably.
Yeah. So, and if it's me, and I'll just say I'm a random person, but if it's me, I'm like going, well, I can go look it up. And as soon as you leave, you've just given me time to go look it up myself. Right? You've given me the opportunity to maybe even ask somebody else. And you don't want to do that. You always want to look like you have the next step ready. And so if you look at the way I built the app, what I'm trying to do is put you in a position where you never have to say, let me get back to you. You can say this, let's check that out. And then open the tool that helps you start the conversation. If anything, it buys you time, but it buys you time differently, right? Meaning that we're still working on it. They're still engaged. You didn't, there wasn't that uncomfortable silence, right? That's what I'm trying to avoid. So I've put together a new course that's going to go in. Now, in the app, anybody having trouble still getting in the app? Some people with email security are not getting the verification code, and I can't figure out how to get past their security. So you just have to white label the email that comes out from the authorization, not from me, from the authorization. So if you're having trouble, I'll help you get through that because there's been like 2 people last week that couldn't get in because of it. So we got ways to work around that. Okay, so inside the course, or inside the app on the left side menu, I guess I'll just show you. On the left side menu is a tab called Learning, right? And this is where I'm trying to consolidate everything that we've done. Because in the past, you've had to go to one app and then one my website for the courses. I'm trying to build it all into one. So when you click on Learning, there's a tab. First of all, it's the app guide, so you can search for things that you're trying to do. There's a complete guide written. But the courses page is where I'm starting to put all of the videos, right? And inside right now is the Clear Path to Cash one. So all those 8 lessons start with the end in mind, fast money formula. They're all inside here already. And so if you're looking to just kind of refresh, you can go right here and just pick one of these and rewatch the video and kind of get re-familiar with what I'm trying to say in some of the charts. Inside of this area, though, I'm also going to be building the new advisor course, which was Pathfinder. And then I'm going to be putting in a lot of short videos on how to do things, different things inside the app. So you're going to see this populate over the next few months on however long it takes me to get there. But I felt like that's got to be an easier way to get to everything, right? Your courses will be there, your app is there, and you also have this thing called office hours, which is all of the times that we're available to meet, right? So everything is in one spot right there. So, and the way I got to the office hours was just right from the Advisor Hub. You'll see membership resources. This will go to the old one because I didn't want you to be disconnected from the stuff that I haven't moved over yet. So this video course will go to the old website, Cashflow Mike website. This goes to the events, and the learning goes to where I'm going to populate all the new courses at. One things I worked on yesterday was I keep pushing this tax idea about how to sell this. Under the quick assessment, if you're looking for a quick way to say, hey, while I had your financial statements and did your taxes, I also did a little bit of analysis. You put in 10 numbers, analyze my business, it will pop up. But I also created a report, right? I'm starting to work on this a little bit better. This will be whatever logo you upload, right? It will match whatever logo you upload in there. But it's kind of a nice report saying, hey, I found $200,000 in your business. It's leaking out. I want to talk to you about it. Can we set a meeting for me to talk to you about what I do from a cash flow perspective, right? And I'll have your name, not my name on it. But
is that minding your business for hidden cash? It sure looks like it.
It is it's the quick assessment.
Uh-huh.
Right. It's just a little bit different look because I wanted to tiptoe on the what and the why, not the how, right? Because
Gotcha.
I wanted you to use this as a way to sell it, right? But it's a deliverable. You can just say, hey, listen, let's talk about this, and they can set an appointment with you later.
Looks very nice.
Yeah, I think it's coming along. I keep working on, what things should look like. But it's something, prepared by you, whatever name you put up here in your display name will be there. So I'm trying to get more customized and more personal for you to white label it. And then the colors change as well, right? So when you guys know how to personalize this, if you go to my profile, underneath here, there's a branding tab. And under the branding tab, you can put in a light background because some of the reports have a light background logo. Some of them have a dark background logo. So you can do both and it will choose the right one for you. You can choose your colors, right? Primary color, secondary color, your taglines, those type of things. It helps white label your experience.
Cool.
So I used that with a client the other night. They're looking at purchasing it's two businesses that are very correlated uh, from the same seller. It worked out really well for us to determine what they should be offering for the business.
Oh, very cool.
I had a little bit of an issue. They're in an industry that kind of slides into three different NAICS codes, but not perfectly into any one.
Yeah,
There's a lot of them like that.
I think all of them are like that. Like, oh, I'm not like anybody else.
Yeah, try finding cideries and apple pressing.
Oh yeah, no, I probably wouldn't be able to find that.
Yeah, so we checked them against farm stands, orchards, and fruit and vegetable packers. But it was very useful and, had the conversation about EBITDA and they said, hey, if we end up being successful in buying this, we're definitely signing on with you for this program.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think Debbie's figured that out too. Like, if you show people some of these reports, they're in, right? They're in. So, okay. Let me go here. All right, so this is the new version I'm coming up with, right? Just trying to visualize what this looks like from a teaching perspective, right? How do I get people back to this? Because we talk a lot about the math. I've been talking a lot about the app, but I want to talk about the process today, right? And what I learned, if you guys remember, I wrote a blog article, and I think it was a social media post at the end of December. That was the 5 things that I learned last year. And that's just one of the things I do to kind of keep myself sharp is what did I learn last year after all talking to, everyone all year long. And the one thing that stuck out to me is that people weren't asking me for more content. They weren't asking me for more stuff. They weren't asking me for, another book, another blog article, another spreadsheet. They were asking for confidence. Several of you have been to the live events, and almost every time, and I'm going to say every time, when I ask at the beginning of the live event, saying, hey, what are you hoping to get out of this? Why did you get on a plane and come to San Antonio? And do you guys remember what you say almost every time?
Confidence.
I want more confidence.
Yeah, getting more comfortable with the philosophies and the procedures.
In the app.
Yeah. So, and confidence to me is that moment right before you give advice. When you're telling somebody something with confidence, it feels better than when you don't have confidence, right? I mean, it's an awkward, like, maybe this will work. But when you have that confidence, it comes out differently. People are drawn to it like a magnet. There's an energy there that makes you the expert, and that's where I want to focus. Building out your practice, because to me, there's 4 different stages of building this out, right? How do I build my offer? What am I really trying to put together? How am I going to sell it, right? Execute it and grow. So over the next couple of weeks, if you guys don't mind, what I wanted to do was kind of focus on this because it gives me a little bit of practice before I have to go do the videos for it. But I can kind of get some feedback as well to see if I'm on the right track. So we're going to talk about building today, right? So if you know from the live event and from the Clear Path to Cash, I always try to wrap somebody's story through it because I feel like I learn better from a story than anything else. So introducing Sarah. Sarah is going to be my kind of guinea pig for putting this together. How would I work with Sarah? It's about $1 million. She feels overwhelmed, too many problems. She's always afraid of making the wrong move. She doesn't really spend a lot of time with reports. She don't need more reports. She needs some help. She needs to know where to go next. So this is her. Now, you guys know, why do I talk about other people? Why do I talk about a person? Now, this is a made up person, but why?
You're using the mirror moment.
Yeah, because I feel like it always helps the person I'm talking to about a concept learn it faster and remember it longer. Because there's a learning curve. Everybody knows the learning curve. Well, there's also a forgetting curve, right? Right after you hear something, you start to forget parts of it, right? So this what this does is it helps extend that learning curve and shorten the forgetting curve. So here's the thing about building the offer. And most of you guys have done this already. Like, do you have a niche? Do you have a niche? Niche? I don't know how to say that. But do you have one? Most of you do. I want to work with contractors. I want to work with, one person I've worked with works with beauty salons. But why is it important to pick one? That's your main one. That doesn't mean you have to live there forever, but that's your main one. Like Diane, why is it important? You're in home services. Why is that important?
Because you can get really good in one area. You know their needs, you know their pain points, you know where they struggle, you know that stuff for when you're dealing with small businesses in general. And you know a little bit about them, but you don't get deep into what they're going through in their business.
Yep.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you pretty much know what their problems are
Oh
because you
yeah.
see everybody's got the same problems.
Yep. And what you then do is you build up this collection of all these problems that you've seen, and you're able to tell the story. Hey, I've got this client that did this. You see me do it every week. Worked with this guy in Kansas City, working with Utah Steel now. I mean, I use the story because it helps you frame the solution for that other person because they're kind of in the same predicament. So, giving you that expertise, speaking the language, I chose a CPA in St. Louis in the mid 2000s, mainly because he kept sending me a letter every single month, an actual letter, right? It was signed, but it was typed. It was probably printed on a computer and typed and a form letter. But I kept getting this letter every single month. And it was to my restaurant. And he talked about being the restaurant expert, the QuickBooks restaurant expert in the world. That's what he did. He did restaurants better than anybody else. I chose him just because he said that. That's a weird thing. And I took what he did and helped a marketing agency do the same thing. All right. So I'm going to say 5, 6 years ago now, I worked with it's a two person shop marketing agency. They just wanted to provide marketing to somebody. I said, well, who have you been successful with? They said, really, it was a friend of mine, and a friend of mine has a State Farm agency. I said, let's start there, because I said I had the CPA who just told me he was the best in the world at restaurants, and that got his business started. I said, let's just tell people that you are the best at marketing State Farm agents in the world. We put it on, we put it on websites. We put everywhere that she went. She says, I specialize in State Farm agents and getting you business and getting you leads and marketing you in the public. That's all she said was State Farm. Guess who else called her? MetLife, Northwestern, like all these other people, because they said, well, if you can do it for State Farm, you can do it for me because we do the same thing. Her business grew just because she says she was good at one thing in the world and other people self-selected in. That's where I think the niche comes in, that other people will self-select to be part of a community where they think, oh, Kathy's the expert in apple presses. Right? So anybody that does apple presses in the world, I'm going to Kathy. Right? But that's just how they did. They said nobody else is going to understand this business, but somebody that's pressed an apple before might understand it better than somebody that hasn't. Never know. So that's where I like the one client type. That doesn't mean you have to specialize, but that means it's easier to tell the story. The next thing is that you find the burning issue. Now, what is the burning issue? What is a burning issue? Anybody?
The one that keeps them up at night.
Yeah, it's that thing that just kind of sits there. It's the thing they're worried about. It's the thing that keeps them up at night. You're right. And what I say is, hey, I'm going to focus on one client at a time, one issue at a time. Right? Have you guys ever heard me talk about the power of one? The power of one is just that. It allows people to really focus and it clears out all the noise. When you provide me with a 1-inch binder of 15 reports and all these, all these different things, there's a lot of noise there. There's not a lot of signal, there's a lot of noise. So I get distracted as the client. So the Power of One helps me focus on that one thing that keeps me up at night. So when you're thinking about when you're thinking about your advisory practice, what is it? I mean, what is it that you're trying to do? Now, in the past, and this is a shift, and you might disagree with me, but in the past, I've thought that this was an add-on to what you're already doing, right? Hey, I do tax, or I do, accounting, or I do bookkeeping. And then I also do cash flow advisory, or I do advisory services. I've always thought this was the add-on. I've flipped that. In my mind, I'm like, oh, wait a second. I think this is the thing. And then you add on, oh, by the way, I do your taxes. Oh, by the way, I do your bookkeeping. Oh, by the way, I do the other things too. But the value for me is I actually help you in your business. And yeah, we take care of all the transactional stuff at the same time. The reason why I've changed my mind on that is because it's different. I'm a zig when they zag type of guy. When I think everybody else is selling me tax services and then somebody all of a sudden comes to the table with a whole different thing, I'm here to put cash in your pocket. I'm here to build transferable value so you can do whatever it is you want to do next, right? I don't care if it's sell the business. I don't care if it's retire. I don't care if it's pass it down to your kids. Whatever it is you want to do next, my job is to help you get there. I fulfill dreams, right? And if I sell it that way, and by the way, I do all the other stuff too. Yeah, we do your taxes. Yeah, we do your bookkeeping. Yeah, we fill out your reports. We make you legal with the state. All of those things you're already doing are transactional, but they're not the wow factor. They're not the thing. I want you to position yourself to change lives. And all the other stuff is just the work you do to make it happen. So to me, I feel like that could be a different conversation, because if they're shopping, they're going to have 3 conversations, maybe 4, and 3 of them are going to be the same. One of them is going to be different. Which one do you choose? Yeah, the one that's different, the one that you take a chance on. You're like, that person's focused on cash. I want that, right? Because they'll still do my taxes. All right. So, and then I look at things now in quarters where I didn't used to. I used to just say, hey, we're going to work on this. Here's my 12-month plan, but we're working on this right now. But now I look at things more in quarters, because it's long enough to keep people engaged for longer amounts of time, but it's short enough where it feels like it's manageable, right? It's one of those things like, hey, next 90 days, we're doing this, ... And, I'll have kind of a more thick plan for that. And the whole thing is to stabilize whatever that burning issue is that we find up front. I want to stop that from burning, because it's not, generally burning issues are not something that you can stop in a day or a week. They take time to work through, right? They take time to analyze it and figure it out. But then I teach my clients now, like, hey, this is what we do. We find what the issue is. And it might take a little time to even find the issue, identify, and then execute on it. And it's the same journey for every client, right? Find, identify, execute. And then I have to determine what the cadence is. How do you know if you should do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly meetings? How do you know? Yeah. How big's the problem, right? How urgent is it? If they're getting ready to close, hopefully they've paid you up front. But if they're getting ready,
and how much money they have.
yeah, right. So I mean, I'm of the opinion that I like more meetings up front, and then we can get into a less cadence after we're used to working with each other. It's more check-ins. It's more, what's the next step type of stuff. So we'll say Utah Steel, I was meeting with them twice a week in the beginning, the first month. In the second month, we went to like once a week. And now we're once or twice a week again still. And this is 6-8 months in. So it's one of those things where they're gonna help you along with the cadence. And the bigger the problem, the more time you're going to have to spend, right? And they have a big problem. And they still got a big problem.
I think to some degree too, it might depend on what your action plan is and how frequently that maybe needs adjustments or progress monitoring.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've put a big project on them with getting all their inventory in there, you might only be meeting with them, say monthly for a while, because you know it's going to perhaps take them at least that long.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. And you can't overwhelm them either. Like I've got six items out, six homework items out for Utah Steel right now. Six. And that's too many because now they're overwhelmed. So yesterday I had to sit down with the director of finance and just get them to focus on two. Just these two things. This is all we're going to focus on and then we'll move to the next one. So if you give them too much, what's that?
I was gonna say, it sounds like you just extended the engagement just a little bit.
Hey, and it's not purposeful. It's not like
I
deceitful.
know that. I know that.
Yeah, it's just what happens. You're like, well, hey, listen, let's back down, right? Because I don't. If you start overwhelming people, then they're going to quit, right?
Right.
So it's okay to back down. All right, hey, bite-sized, consumable chunks. If we can just get this done by next week, I think we're going to be fine. And there's movement, right? And as long as people feel movement and not static or not stuck, then they're going to stick with you because you're pushing them through to the next thing, even if it's this far movement. So I now think, and of course, because it's me and it's my program, I now think that the clear path to cash starts at the top. That's the thing that you can sell, and then you layer in whatever value stack you got below that. Hey, listen, I help people's dreams, right? I fulfill dreams. This is where we are. We are always going to be focused on cash, maintaining cash, growing cash, keeping cash, using cash. We're always going to be focused on cash in your business. And by the way, we also will provide your taxes, your bookkeeping, what are some other things you guys do out there besides those? Nope, I guess that's it. So it's easy. It's easy then.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, broad category would be record keeping and compliance.
Yeah, and so however you want to frame that, I do think that it's easier for people to understand. I am your cash advisor. Of course, I do bookkeeping and those type of things as well, but that's what I am. I am a cash advisor, and my whole focus is to make sure that you have as much and more cash as you need. All right. So the burning issue, one of the first technique that I ask people to use is called clear the noise, right? Clear the noise. And the reason why I say clear the noise, first of all, what is that? What is clear the noise? What is it?
Finding out what's on your person's mind. What are they concerned about?
Yeah, so every person that comes to a meeting, meets with you, spends time with you, there's already things that are happening in and around their lives, and they're thinking about that. And especially if they know that you're focused on a business problem, they have a business problem here. So even if I have a plan, and I suggest always have a plan of what you're going to talk about, but you have to let them talk about their burning issue first. Because if not, while you're talking, they're going to be thinking about that. Oh, when can I get this question in? Well, they don't want to ask a question about payroll if you're talking about valuation, or if you're talking about, start with end in mind type stuff. And they're like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna make payroll. So I'm like, hey, what's going on in your business? Tell me about it. What's happening? And it's a simple little question. That's the way I do it. Tell me what's going on. What are some other variations? What works for you? Who's tried that with their own words, not mine? Kathy, I thought you said something.
No.
Oh, okay. Uh, Anybody else use that one? I mean, does anybody use that one? Hey, what's going on in your business? Yeah, it's easy enough. Hey, what's going on? Tell me what's happened since it's been about a week since we last talked. What happened? And it gives them the permission to just lay it on the line. And I'm telling you, the more often you do that with the same person, they get used to it and they just start dumping right off the bat. Right? They just come in and all of a sudden you have something to work on. You got something to talk about. And generally, what I'm doing is I'm listening for trigger words. And when I say trigger words, I'm talking about the thing that points me to a burning issue. And the burning issue is the thing that they can't get past. It's the thing they think about. It's the thing they worry about. It's the thing that hurts their relationships, hurts their businesses, and hurts their sleep patterns, right? That's what we're looking for, is that thing. So here are the 6, right? And I need to go through and change some of the subtitles, but here are the 6. What are some things somebody would say for a cash flow problem? Or something somebody might say.
Look, I'm always waiting for invoices to come in to get paid.
Yeah, business feels clunky. Like, I don't know, I'm always waiting for money to come in before I can do something else, right? What about profit?
Why do I have a profit at the end of the year and I don't have any cash?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Or I'm doing all this work and I just don't see that there's any profit or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, losing money. I says I'm losing money all the time. You know, they're profit, or it just it never feels like there's enough, right? What about a debt problem? What might they say?
All my money's going to pay my bank.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm
My
making
blood
money.
pressure goes up every time my loan payments are due.
Yeah, I've got to make all these payments. It seems like I'm always, trying to struggle to make a payment. Or maybe they need debt. It might not be that they have too much debt. It means that they're in a position where they need to be prepared to work with a bank. Hey, I got turned down, right? I got turned down from a loan. I don't understand it. That's a debt problem, right?
Or they have mismatched financing.
Right.
Or they got mismatched financing, right? There's another debt problem.
Yeah,
Right?
it could be a matter of restructuring the debt.
Okay. What about the future? What's a future problem? What would that sound like?
Retirement.
Retirement. Hey, how do I get out of this business?
I can't do this forever.
Yeah. I got an
my
offer.
kids
Hey,
through college.
somebody made me an offer on my business. Or yeah, it's something like that. Or maybe they don't even know why they're in business. Sometimes I'll ask people that, say, hey, why'd you start this business? And that's a hard question for some people. I said, you didn't just start it because you had nothing to do. There was a reason.
I have a lot of the conversations about, did you start this business to create a job for yourself, or did you start a business to leave a legacy?
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect, right? Because there's a big decision there. Did you build transferable value, or are you building transferable value, or are you just building a job? And I always tell people at the end, I'm like, because if you just built a job, what happens when you lose your job?
Mhm.
You have to
lose
go
your
find
income
another
source.
job. Yeah, you got to find another job, right? And I tell people all the time, I said, the saddest thing I've ever seen in the world is when I pushed a check across the table to the guy when I bought the first bar. Pushed the check across, the paperwork was signed. He picked up the check, he looked at it, and he wasn't happy. I could just see it on his face. He goes, it's not enough. And guess what he did? He went and worked with his dad back in the concrete business. Right after that. So he hadn't built transferable value. He had built a job. All right. What about an education problem? What might somebody say if they have an education problem?
I don't understand my financials.
Definitely. Definitely.
So you know what? I had this other accountant. They kept giving me all these reports. What am I supposed to do with this? It's an education problem. And they don't need you to do more analysis. They just want you to explain how to use it. And so that's an easier one for you. That's where you should excel, I would think.
That's actually the one that is perfect for like a group setting, a group session.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I find myself in that because I use Utah Steel. They do once a month this 2 hour uh, leadership meeting. It's like they bring in all the leadership, and they always ask me to kind of go over kind of financial position, and I use that as education, and that's the feedback that I'm getting is that, oh my God, we've never understood what this meant, and nobody's ever explained how the financials worked in this company.
That's why Montana and I are working on building out a financial literacy course.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. Very cool.
But from your point of view and not what we all learned in college.
Yeah. Okay. So what does that what does that mean? Say it differently. What's my point of view?
You look at the financial statements in a different way. You kind of turn them on their head and look at them very differently than what we learn or being indoctrinated or baptized in Gap.
We're high priests in general accepted accounting principles. The religion of.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's useless. Gap is useless.
Yeah. What about an operations problem? What does that sound like?
Stuff is taking too long to get done.
Yeah. We have all these things that we start, but it didn't seem to work right. I mean, uh, even if they have slow collections, that could be an operations problem,
Mhm.
right? It could be just the process.
Procedures.
Yeah.
Bad
It could be
procedures.
just the process, right?
Procedures and inefficiencies.
Yeah. So let's go a step further. So we had this conversation, it cleared the noise. If I can't find the issue with that, then I'll go to the explorer, and the explorer is just asking a deeper question. Like, say that differently. Or, hey, tell me more about that. When you said this, what'd you mean? Do you guys ever notice I use that on you all the time?
Mhm.
Because that's emulating it, right? That's actually getting you to hear it more often. And so I want it to be to where it just sounds like a regular conversation, but it's a planned conversation that the person you're talking to doesn't understand it's just a planned conversation. But for you, it gets you to the point faster, right? So you're not wasting time and you know where to go with the conversation after that. So let's talk about what happens when I find one of these. I find cash flow is the burning issue, or debt, or profit. What do I do next? I suspect it's cash flow. What do I do next?
You find the appropriate tool to use to drill
Yeah.
down deeper.
All right. So if you can say cash flow, debt, profit, future, education, or operations, that's the F in fix. Find the burning issue, right? That's the first step. The second step is to identify what's causing it to burn. Why is cash flow the problem? So, if cash flow or any of these, you're going to go to the next step in the clear path to cash, which is I'm going to use one of the advisor tools. And when you go to the app, there's a filter that says advisor tools. You click on advisor, and the 9 tools are there. And generally, the burning issue will connect to one of those. Cash flow, there's 2 that connect to cash flow. One is minding your business for hidden cash. I use that to really determine, is it a cash flow problem or is it a profit problem?
Or both.
Or both. It could be both, right? And minding your business for hidden cash has 6 different places it looks. 3 of them are cash generating activities, which are generally profit problems. 3 of them are cash conversion activities, which are generally cash flow problems. What's the other one for a cash flow problem?
Fast money formula.
Fast money formula. How fast does money move through and how big is the financial gap? Because your working capital is designed to cover the financial gap. If it feels clunky, like you don't have enough, it's because you don't have enough working capital, right, to cover that gap. Most people can figure out working capital. They never figure out the cash gap because they don't know how much a company needs, right? So that whole fast money formula is how much does this company need to operate smooth, right? That's what that whole thing's about. What about a debt problem? There are 3 tools that I use for debt problems. See, like, oh, we don't know that one. Huh?
EBITDA.
All right. So the home run financial system, right? Because that will help me with long-term debt. It tells me two things about debt. One, the debt to equity ratio, right? And that number should be what? Right, 2.5 or
5 or
less.
less.
You guys, all right. All right. The other thing it tells me is that with EBITDA, it kind of gives me a cap, a capacity. How much can they afford? What is their borrowing power? And that should be 3 times EBITDA. Then we take out what they already have, right? Whatever long-term debt they have. But remember, that's a long-term debt problem. That's why I use the home run financial system, because it helps me focus in on long-term debt. So, and what's the rule on long-term debt?
It shouldn't be any longer than the life of what it
Yeah.
Yep. The length of the loan should match the life of the asset. All right. The length of the loan should match the life of the asset. See, you guys do learn stuff. That's good. That's good. All right. What tool is used for short-term debt? Fast money formula, right? It's going to tell you if you need a line of credit
to fill the gap,
to
right?
fill the gap, right? The line of credit is designed to fill the gap. It's the difference between money coming in and money going out. If you don't have enough cash, you use your line of credit to be able to match the sales value, right? That's what that whole line of credit is about. Can I have enough inventory to keep up with my sales demand? Can I keep up with payroll in a service company? The line of credit helps you fill that gap, right? That's what that's for. Notice I never say credit cards, right, as short-term debt, because credit cards are cash. They are supposed to be paid off monthly. I only use my credit card for what I can pay at the end of the month. It's just, oh, I don't have cash. I'm going to buy this, fiddle hopper on Amazon for the office. Well, I'll use a credit card to do that, but I pay the credit card off at the end of the month. So
I always tell people the only reason why they should be using a credit card is to generate points.
yeah, and
If you
generate
hate
points.
cash flow,
It's convenience. It's
don't do it.
convenience. That's right. All right. So short-term debt, fast money formula. What about there's another one. There's another clear path to cash lesson about debt.
Mismatch financing?
Mismatch financing is on the home run financial system, right?
We got that one.
And that's about long-term debt. It's about, there's one that's more education as well, but it's how to deal with your banker.
Okay.
Right? So remember, long-term debt, we're talking about long-term debt, then we're talking about short-term debt, but how to deal with your banker is how to actually apply for the loan. What is the banker looking at? So part of your job when people have loans is to prepare them to go talk to the banker, who has to be their advocate. They have to tell their story to the loan committee to get money out of the bank. So how to deal with your banker helps you prepare them. Inside the app, I also created a loan proposal generator. It takes the data you put in there and helps fill in the gaps. And when you don't know the answers, it's got AI help in the fields, right? Hey, help me, answer this question, right? So it puts together a nice packet for you. So that's debt. What about profit? Oh, go ahead, Kathy.
I have a question on the how to deal with your banker. If, like my case, somebody's looking at purchasing business, I have 3 years of annual numbers. Can we put that to work to put a package together for the banker's already called me. I work with her with a lot of farm clients. So can I use that when I don't have a lot of historical information, or maybe not enough, maybe not real detailed information?
Yeah, what would be interesting, Kathy? Let's get in a meeting and walk through that loan proposal generator and see how your situation. That's one of the things that Debbie's allowed me to do, is just watch how you would use it and make adjustments to where it's right.
Okay.
Hey, Kathy, when you did the advisement that you mentioned at the very beginning about the Apple guys that were going to be selling, did you use the simple valuation formulas to come up with a ballpark of what the business was worth? Is that how you did that?
Yeah, so when I plugged everything in and we came up on the simple valuation, they came up with the 3 times EBITDA, and then I have a service that I subscribe to. Like the hard cidery portion also, it kind of goes under wineries. But in looking further at the resource that I use, they said, well, if it's a specialty, then it would go like instead of 2 to 4 times EBITDA, it might go 4 to 6 times EBITDA. So that's kind of what I use for a range for them, but they don't have very good processes in place. So I told them, you're going to be looking at the lower end of the multiple.
Yeah. Interesting. So, yeah, but I would like to walk through that with you, because here's what I think I'm pretty good at is getting people ready to get a loan. And the Utah Steel CEO, he's 37 years old. He's run this company 20 years. That's unique, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I just found out he was 37 because I didn't know how old he was, right? So I just found out he was 37 last week when it was his birthday. But I'm also seeing the immaturity as well. It's really weird because that he thinks because I've never been in the steel manufacturing that I don't understand, and he can do whatever he wants to with the bank because he's always gotten by with it. So in December, I told him, I said, hey, I know you're trying to move and buy this bigger building. You're probably not going to be able to. And guess what a 37-year-old CEO tells the fractional CFO?
You're
Go
full.
Get lost.
Yeah, go pound sand, go pound sand. I can get as much money as I want to. My banker said I can get $12 million if I need it.
This guy sounds like he must have taken over from his daddy.
No, he started it on his own. He didn't take it over.
He started it at age 17?
Yeah, he started it in a garage.
Damn, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That is pretty
20
impressive.
years, he built it to a $30 million company. Yeah. No, he's always been the guy.
Good for him.
He doesn't have the financial education to go along with running a company of that size.
Yeah, guess what happened on Monday when he went into the bank when I told him not to?
They told him no.
They told him no.
Yeah. They said, we don't really feel comfortable with where you're at right now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Did you get a chance to say, I told you so?
No, I'm very polite, very polished. Like going, hey, but the director of finance came, talked to me yesterday and she said, yeah, they said exactly what you said. I'm going, yeah, I don't want you to be embarrassed. Go in there and bury your soul in front of the bank that you think, will give you anything you want. And they say no. That's a crush. That's a blow to the gut. I don't want you to feel that.
So did you just extend that gig for another couple of months to help them restructure so that they could get the debt?
He will not cut expenses. I don't get it. He thinks he can sell his way out of it, and he keeps missing sales projections. So he has moved the director of sales out of their position, and he is now the director of sales. To prove me wrong.
Well, up until this point, that might have always worked, but it's a different, what got you here won't get you there.
And that's just where he's at. He's at that. This thing could skyrocket like crazy if he just took one step back. And you ever seen the book Nail It, Then Scale It?
No.
All right. So it just talks about focus. It talks about doing one thing super, super well and then being able to repeat it so you can grow faster. And he won't take the step back to do something super well. He just thinks that it just kind of works itself out, and it just doesn't.
So maybe you better give him a quick counseling session on growing himself broke.
Yeah. We spent 2 hours together last week, and I thought I had him there. But I put together a brand new idea for him. And I'll share it with you when I get some numbers. Right now, I'm waiting for input for some numbers from them. Numbers I can't get, like number of welders and number of hours. But I want to show you how I've broke down their structural steel process from a guy that has zero structural steel experience. But I spent a 2-hour conversation with him, so I produced a technique same thing that we do anyway, but used his words. Like, oh, man, that's really good. So anyway, I can't wait to share it with you.
Hey, can I add something? That nail it, then scale it. For those of you that have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. It's there. You can download it for free.
Yeah, there you go. And it just talks really about focus. Think about a franchise, right? They nail the process and then they repeat and scale it faster, right? And so it's about focus on the foundation, the beginning. So, all right, profit. What was a tool you might use for profit? What is a clear path to cash tool you've got? You
The
might
financial doctor.
Financial doctor, right? Mini P&L, the pricing center that's in there now, right? Those type of things. Yeah, profit. Where can I get the money from? Where's it leaking out? Minding your business for hidden cash will tell you if it's a profit problem, but the other tools will help you execute on it. The future, there's probably 3 tools for that, but at least 2 about the future. If it's a future problem, you're going to start with the end in mind. If we're going to work together, where are we going? Right? Because I can't build the plan, unless I know where you want to go and how much does it cost to get there. And then the simple valuation formula is another one, right? And you could probably look at the deliberate exit strategy, which talks more about the emotional connection to a business. How about education? What is a big one for education?
Home Run Financial System.
Home Run Financial System. Hey, I don't know how to read these financials. Hey, let me just give you 6 little things, a little bit from each one, so you can kind of get started. It's an education system. What about operations? This is a Karen Harrison thing, special. Operations. What's in the clear path to cash? It's not a lesson, but there's a tool, and I've taught the technique.
Isn't it the process mapping?
It's the process mapping optimization, right? And now I've got AI that helps you identify bottlenecks and gives you ideas on how to improve, right? It's in there, and there's a whole template library in there of the most common business practices to get started with. So what I think we've done today is I've walked you through the find and then moved you into the identify. So find one of these 6 and then identify what it is that is the big problem by using one of the clear path to cash techniques. So thoughts, comments?
We have a chart, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
That gives us, the different issues and which tools to use.
Yeah. Let's see. That is problem. Where can I find that at? I think it's in the client conversation coach.
I don't know if it's up to date because we've got some new things in there now, like the process mapping and
June, July, October. Yeah, so the way I'm starting to think about this is that the clear path to cash tools are more advisor tools, or more strategic. And then the other ones that we've talked about, like the bid calculator and the pricing center and the inventory master, those are more tactical, right? So those are more on the execution side. How do I fix it? So there's kind of 2 different layers. Let me see if how do I share? Zoom share. No. Must have it on full. Oh, I do. You ever notice on Zoom if you have the slide deck on full that you can't share it again?
Mm-mm.
Let's see here. Share. Now I got that. I think it's in this one, which you guys probably haven't seen. But you've seen the There's a better one than this, but that's basically what we're doing, right? Is finding the burning issue using the conversation techniques. When you find it, it's going to point to one of these. This isn't the right one.
I think we've seen this before. That looks familiar.
Yeah, I've went through this with you guys before, but oh, here it is. So if you want to screenshot that, that might be a good thing. But these are the ones, right? And so once you know the issue, right, find the issue and then identify what's causing it to be the issue using one of these, and then execute using the tools that are in the app. And that's got to be the simplest I've made it in 3 years.
Yeah, that's
Simple
perfect.
is hard. Simple is hard. But yeah, find the burning issue, identify what's causing it to burn, execute at the flashpoint, right? The big thing. Questions, comments, concerns, most groans, gripes, complaints, otherwise.
Question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
What software do you use to create all your PowerPoints?
I'm using GenSpark.
GenSpark.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one. So it's an AI one, and what I've been doing lately is instead of starting from scratch, I will take an old PowerPoint and update it.
Okay.
But GenSpark, and it does more than slides. GenSpark is really good. I just found it like 2-3 months ago, and you probably have seen from my slides lately that they're getting better and better.
That's why I was asking. It's like, wow, they're getting nice.
Yeah, so GenSpark is what I'm using.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
And Gen is with Gen, Spark.
Thanks. That's a good lead.
Yeah. Hey, I'm super grateful. Thank you very much for all the time you spend with me, and let's do something great. I really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
All right. See y'all.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mike.
Bye.
The numbers are right. Everything reconcile. Nothing is missing. There's more data than ever, and less room to think. So what do we actually do next? That's the moment you realize the math was almost helpful.